Uncensored, no holds barred talk. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is Global Reality Radio Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another live edition of the Global Reality right here on the Global Reality Radio Network. I'm your host, Josh Reeves. Thanks for being with us here tonight for another late-night Moonbat edition of the broadcast. It is Wednesday, the 31st of August, now into Thursday, September 1st, 2011. And we are here with you tonight on the Global Reality Radio Network. www.theglobalreality.com is the website where this broadcast originates from. That's theglobalreality.com. And, boy, it took me forever to fucking filter through all the goddamn news tonight. I mean, not that there was a lot of interesting stuff to cover. We do have a bit here to get into tonight for you, as usual. But just, you know, I mean, as I've talked about, we knew this was coming, and I've really started to see more of it tonight than ever. Just all this, you know, election horse shit. You guys ever notice how when, we're just seeing the same patterns all over again. I feel it's interesting because the month of September is our 4-year anniversary of the Global Reality. And when I first started the show back in 2007, we were right in the heart of the Ron Paul and election mania, and everybody was getting in that whole hysteria. And, you know, right as that's going on is when the CMP information fell into my lap. And it's funny now, I've been here for 4 years, and it seemed like we're feeling like we're in a time loop, you know? I feel like we're back there. Because, you know, I mean, how many times did we see after, you know, that, after Ron Paul took a dive, and he literally took a dive in that last election, it was obvious. But how many times did we see after he took that dive in the media, you know, during the elections, everybody was quick to talk shit on him and call him everything under the sun and all this other stuff. And then as soon as the elections were over, you know, everybody's having him on MSNBC and CNN. They're all talking about what a good guy he is. And the next thing you know, the election cycle comes back around and, he's a kook. He doesn't know what he's talking about, crazy, all this stuff. I mean, they're just doing this to enrage all of the brainwashed idiots who get behind Ron Paul, trying to get those people to be angered enough to want a violent armed conflict and a new civil war and all the rest of this stuff. And it just amazes me to see all this stuff happening again and people falling right back into it, man. It's sickening. So we'll probably discuss some of that tonight, as well as a lot of things. If you want to send in emails tonight, you want to hear me talk about something specific, globalrealityshow@gmail.com. That's globalrealityshow@gmail.com. You can send in your emails over there, and I'll do my best to read them on the air. I have a few to read here tonight. We're also going to be getting back into our series of reading tonight of The Lost Book of Enki. And hopefully my buddy John Doe there in the chat room will remind me what page. I know we're starting like the tablet 12. We read there it is. I found it, 266. There we go. The 12th tablet. I actually had it highlighted and was able to find it again. There we go. So the 12th tablet, we'll be getting into that tonight here on the broadcast for you as well. We are closer to reaching our fundraising goal for the week. This is our fundraising week to pay the bills and everything. We are closer to that. We're now only $200 away. So if we get that in by tomorrow, we'll be able to get everything squared away. So thanks to everybody who has donated and supported us. And please, you could use for the remaining $200 if you want to help us reach that goal. Please use the donate button for that and keep the chicken banner clear for our 4th anniversary fundraiser, which we're having through the month of September to raise some funds to be able to get new equipment. We've been running on the same computers and same microphones and studio gear and stuff, and this stuff just getting old, and it's time to get some new stuff in here and push this forward in the 4th year. So that's what we're going to try and do in the month of September. We hope you'll support us there, as you always do. First article I want to get into tonight concerns something we've covered here on the show quite a bit through the years about the obvious hypocrisy concerning there being cameras everywhere you go. We're pretty much filmed and tracked and traced everywhere we go now. That's a fact. I mean, that's not 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It wasn't as widespread. And so then, when people would say, that's just Orwellian paranoia or, this, that, and the other, if they didn't see it where they lived, and a lot of people didn't then, they would have been justified. Now, it's not justified to think that. We are being tracked and traced and watched everywhere we go 24/7. But in spite of that, it's illegal for us, the citizen, to film police when they may be doing illegal activity. And an article was released today stating that the First Circuit Court of Appeals has ruled that citizens can videotape police. The filming of government officials while on duty is protected by the First Amendment, said the court. Now, what's interesting is that this came out today, and you would think that something like this would be plastered all over, Alex Jones' websites, Infowars.com and stuff like that, as a victory, because that's what, that's what I see this as, is this, but what does Alex Jones post on his website instead? This article, dated the same as this article talking about and I'll drop links to these in the chat room for you so you can follow along at home. But just as we have this article posted today, talking about how they've officially, declared that within the, exactly, guy. I mean, that should be a fucking victory, man. That's what I see it as, right? That should be plastered everywhere as a victory for people that have been fighting for this and people that have been put in jail for this. But what does Alex Jones choose to run instead? He chooses to run this article entitled, "Man Faces Life in Jail for Recording Police. Every other case involving people arrested for filming cops has been thrown out of court, but media promulgates hoax that recording police is illegal." So as they come out with the information, my point is here is that as they come out with the information saying that there's a victory, he's quick to point out, this other case that may or may not even add up to anything. That still tries to reinforce it. He's going to jail for the rest of his life. If you actually read the guy's article, if you ever read the guy's information and go read up on the case, it's a possibility that's what they could give him as a maximum sentence. But with this new ruling that was handed down today, that makes that totally irrelevant. So, I don't know. I just don't think that's, come on, man. But see, he's done stuff like this over and over again that just claims, oh, well, nobody's perfect, I'll make mistakes. Yeah, that's true. But after it happens in the same kind of thing like this 100 times over, where something comes out and says, okay, we've made this, we're stopping this, we're not doing it anymore. He comes out with 10 articles, they'll tell it, just like he did during the swine flu thing. It's just ridiculous, man. And that's the whole thing. It just reminded me of that thing he did down in Austin with a gun, where these guys are going out, actually having legitimate rights to have a protest, getting along with the people at the gun show and all this stuff. And then all of a sudden here comes Penguin Jones waddling up, totally telling the whole thing all to pieces. But that's what it feels like. It's like every time there's a victory, he's quick to point out, oh, no, that's really a defeat hidden in a victory. We've got to be in fear of the New World Order. This isn't over. Raw. That's the whole thing is like I talked about last time on the show. That sort of constant dwelling on the negative, it just drives people batshit crazy. And, you know, it's done with malice and it's done with intent, as far as I'm concerned. But I talked about earlier, you know, this crap about, oh, you know, Ron Paul's great and considered a great congressman so long as there isn't any elections going on. And then, you know, look, I mean, you guys ought to know by now he's a plant. He's controlled by these same Jesuit priest-class stooges that Jones is. But that's not my point here. My point is that there's an article here entitled "Connecticut Governor Calls Ron Paul an Idiot." Now, most people who are Ron Paul fanatics or Ron Paul fans or supporters or what else are going to see this, key in on this, and what's going to happen. They're going to turn fucking as red as this CNN logo is in this article, right? Ron Paul's an idiot. He called Ron Paul an idiot. Who's that lefty commie liberal Democrat? I see that D there right next to his name from Connecticut, Governor Daniel Malloy. He's Democrat liberal. He hates Ron Paul. That's all they're gonna see, right? That's all they're gonna say. But that's not the meat and potatoes of this article. If you look at it, I put a link in the chat room for you guys. Check this article out and read what it actually says here. Because I wasn't focusing in on, oh, he called Ron Paul an idiot. That's not what is really the important issue here. Listen to this. Connecticut Governor Daniel P. Malloy shocked CNN's Christine Romans Wednesday with his response to Republican presidential candidate Ron Paul's suggestion that FEMA wasn't necessary for responding to natural disasters. Well, it wasn't up until after 9/11, was it? How many times do you ever hear of FEMA being deployed for a hurricane or anything else prior to 9/11? No, you didn't. I think he's an idiot, Malloy stated. That's blunt, Romans replied, laughing. That's quite blunt. Malloy continued, we're spending $900 million a week in wars, and he's arguing about whether we should spend some amount of money. FEMA now has currently $900 million budget available to it. That is a ridiculous conversation. Really don't understand what he's talking about, and I'm not sure he does. The reality is, now listen to this. This is the important part. Now that's the distraction part. Ron Paul's an idiot, and he's blah, blah, blah. Now listen to this. This is the important part that they just want you to glaze over. The reality is that this storm was handled in such a way that we have preserved hundreds of lives without this warning system. Without this system of response, we would be standing here with as few people who have died in this massive storm that stretches from North Carolina to Quebec. The governor has asked residents to immediately report any damage left in an effort to secure federal funding. Now, what's he do there? No, he turns this from Ron Paul's an idiot into, without FEMA, without our planning, without our warning system, so many more people would have died. If you don't submit all fealty to the state and submit to us and let us run every aspect of your lives, we're going to have a lot more death than destruction. You see that right there? So he masks his overarching support for total government control and disguises it behind Ron Paul's an idiot, Ron Paul's an idiot. Blurp, 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 blurp. That's very slick. And, Raw Story ran this as that title. Connecticut governor calls for Ron Paul's an idiot, but that's the whole thing here. Yeah, he may be an idiot here. He may be controlled by, the priest-class Jesuit bozos, but the fact of the matter is, that's not the point here. Ron Paul is saying FEMA is not necessary to respond to natural disasters. Like him or don't like him, you have to. I think you have to agree with that. I certainly would agree with that. I would say not in all cases. Well, hell, I mean, since they don't really do anything, look what they fucking did in Katrina. They didn't do shit there anyway when they were all up in that. Understand this: FEMA's not there to fix anything. They're just there to make sure that things go the way they want them to go. Federal Emergency Management Agency. They are the managing what happens after a catastrophe. Now, that management could mean corralling people into internment quarters or camps or anything else. That could mean calling in military troops if need be, but that's exactly what they're there to do. They're there to manage the situation. Now, again, prior to the existence of FEMA, and FEMA was really was not something that was widely talked about until after 9/11. It was kind of something that was always hush-hush. You guys might remember back, I think it was 98 or 99, when the first X-Files movie came out in theaters. Part of the plot in that movie was when the aliens come and take over in 2012, FEMA is the secret government, and they assume all control, and everybody submits to under FEMA. And at that time, nobody talked about FEMA. It wasn't a commonly known name or term, and I can remember it was sort of held in the same sort of light as the Bilderberg Group. You know, it seemed very conspiratorial. I mean, hell, during that same time, I'm not kidding you. Those of you who weren't awake to this stuff back then don't remember this, but it is an absolute fact, folks. Around that same time, 98, late 90s, 98, 99, somewhere in there, dude, the Bilderberg Group was a massive, massive conspiracy theory. People never believed that. They wouldn't, there is not a secret group, blah, 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 blah. Now it's just, it's front page news a couple of years ago. I mean, I literally had to go wipe. I'm walking out of the fucking little convenience store. I look over, I see a Dallas Morning News there. Governor Perry attends secretive Bilderberg group meeting today. And I'm sitting here going, my God, 10 years ago, I was laughed at by so many people. That was an outrageous conspiracy theory. People would sooner believe that Elvis was still alive and he cooked their breakfast at Denny's that morning than they would believe that there was some secret cabal of rich people running the world behind the scenes. Yeah, I'm serious. Now it's common knowledge and everybody accepts it. It's kind of the CMP's kind of getting that way now too. When I first started talking about it, hell, nobody wanted to hear it, didn't believe it was true. Now it's just, it's just accepted. But FEMA was that same way. It was seen as, some dark, shadowy group that was just all a part of this grand conspiracy. Now we're seeing, I think I don't know whether that's an indicator that they're just coming more right out with what they're doing. The obvious sort of byproduct of them ramping things up. It could be that. It could be that they sort of brought some of these groups out into light a little bit more to demystify them. I think that's part of it as well. Because if you don't allow something into a conversation, right? If you just seem to have a knee-jerk reaction and get sort of, spooky and kind of weird and start acting strange and uncomfortable whenever somebody brings up a certain piece of information, that mystifies it for people. That makes people want to look into it more. It makes people want to research it more. That's what I think's been going on with this ancient alien stuff and all this stuff they've been putting on TV now, where they're looking for ancient relics and ancient antiquities and ancient aliens and all this stuff. I think this is a part of an intentional demystification program that's going on, where they're demystifying this stuff under the eyes of the public, so that the general public says, oh, well, it's on TV now, so it's, there's probably nothing more to it than what they're telling us on TV. Yeah, it's just common knowledge. And, well, I think that's dangerous. I think that's what they want. I think it's an intentional demystification so that they can still control the parameters of what you'll believe or understand about that particular topic, be it the Anunnaki or the Bilderberg Group or anything else. But I really do believe that that's been why they've allowed a lot more of this stuff to come out, is so that they can control the way in which it's brought out to the people, because they know they can't control people finding out about this information anymore. It's too widespread. Oh, by the way, we did the Demigods did a radio show interview. It was a live Ustream video, deepelmonair.com. It'll be up for about a week. Our guy Illuminated Scam, our listener who puts up our YouTube videos for us in the shows every day, thanks to him for all he does. He's going to be getting that up as well. It was a fun thing. It was kind of strange because when we went into to do this interview for the Demigods, I was sort of under the impression it was was going to be all about the music and the band and all this stuff. I didn't really realize that the guy that was conducting an interview, who's the boyfriend of another girl that we know for a while. Thanks to Jansen and Amberly for having us over there. But come to find out, this guy's on fire about info, and it's not really my fault. But when it's just, it's kind of a byproduct of what I do. A couple of years ago, and we were in that situation, it probably wouldn't have happened. But now so many more people are waking up to this stuff. And so a lot of people are kind of interested in, talking to me about info and stuff. But I'm glad we did do it that way, because I think it's going to give people, people just listen to our music and not really know what we're about. I think people are going to have a lot more of an idea of what we're really about, what we're trying to do with the music by listening to that and watching that. But I didn't really mean for it to, kind of did turn into an episode of my show, which I didn't really mean for it to do. And that wasn't really my fault. He just kept asking more stuff and more deeper questions. This is kind of like, that's why I said, I was like, dude, how much time do you got? Because, you're asking some questions that I could, we could go on all night here about. But it was fun, and I'm glad we got to do it. But I was completely caught off guard. I was just ready to talk about music and stuff. And he starts hitting me with info questions. I'm like, whoa, shit. I kind of had to get in that frame of mind all of a sudden, because I was not in that frame of mind at all. I was thinking more on the lines of music. But that'll be up on YouTube, and you guys can check that out as well. So, we forgot to mention a lot of things. We barely mentioned we're going back to the studio. We barely mentioned, some of these new songs that we're doing and stuff like that. We barely mentioned the huge zombie walk. They're going for a world record zombie walk in Dallas this year, 10,000 plus people. And one of the clubs that's putting it on is a club we played at several times, 2826 Arnetic. They're big fans of our music. And we're going to be playing some big, huge event there October 15th, I think, in front of like 10,000 zombies or something. Oh, it's going to be fucking great. But our stage will be at the end of the walk. When did you find out? Do you verify that for sure, Jamie? I hadn't heard that. That's awesome. But pretty much they're going to tear the place apart. It's going to be rad. I got to get some video footage of that. Oh man, I want to see some video footage of me, but like on the drum kit, and then it pans out behind me, like us on the stage, and behind my head on the drum kit, just see seas of fucking zombies, like as far as you can see. Oh my god, that would be so rad. Fucking zombies! Oh, dude, I can't wait for that. Yeah, that's pretty killer. But anyway, thanks for the people over there at Deep Ellum on Air. Jansen, Amberly, thanks to the whole crew for having us. Funny thing Jansen mentioned during that was that I'd never met him. He'd heard about me and, through some friends, mutual friends and acquaintances and stuff. And, he's a Red Ice fan. He goes and starts listening to Red Ice and hears me and goes, hey, I know that guy, blah, blah. That's pretty cool how that happens. But, I guess we'll end up doing more interviews. I'm sure later there'll be more music-based, but that's just kind of one of those weird things that happened. Kind of inadvertently turned into an info-based show. But I think that's good, though. I think that if people see what we're really about, then they'll have a better idea of what we're trying to say with the songs and the lyrics. So I think it was really good. Let's see what else we have here on the news list tonight. Couple of Monsanto-related stories tonight. Attack of the Monsanto super insects from Mother Jones. Over the past decade and a half, as Monsanto built up its globe-spanning multi-billion-dollar genetically modified seed empire, it made two major pitches to farmers. The first involved weeds. Leave the weed management to us, Monsanto insisted. We've engineered plants that can survive our very own herbicide. Just pay up for our patented premium price seeds. Spray your fields with our Roundup herbicide, and whenever the fancy strikes, voila, no more weeds. The second involved crop-eating insects. We've isolated the toxic gene of commonly used bacterial pesticide called BT Monsanto announced, and spliced it directly into the crops. Along with corn and soy, you will literally be growing pesticide into the plants that protects them. Plant our seeds and watch your crops thrive while pests shrivel and die. Monsanto forced its technology on three widely planted, highly subsidized crops, corn, soy, and cotton. Large-scale farmers of these commodities, always operating on razor-thin profit margins, lunged at the chance to streamline their operations by essentially outsourcing their pest management to Monsanto. And so Monsanto's high-tech crops essentially took over the corn, soy, and cotton-growing regions of the country, but now the pitches are wearing thin. Dumping a single herbicide onto millions of acres of farmland has, predictably enough, given rise to weeds resistant to that herbicide. Such super weeds are now galloping through cotton and corn country, forcing farmers to resort to highly toxic herbicide cocktails and even hand weeding. More than 11 million acres are infested with Roundup-resistant weeds, up from 2.4 million acres in 2007. Reckons Penn State University weed expert David Mortensen. And now insects are developing resistance in Monsanto's insecticide-infused crops. Reports the Wall Street Journal fields planted in Monsanto's BT corn in some areas of the Midwest are showing damage from the corn rootworm, the very species targeted by Monsanto's engineered trait. An Iowa State University scientist has conclusively identified BT-resistant rootworms in 4 Iowa fields. I mean, it's just amazing. So not only has this stuff, I mean, all these chemicals, they get in your body and they change your DNA, folks. That's what Monsanto's stuff is designed to do. Genetically modified foods, Roundup, all this stuff, it changes your DNA. It keeps your DNA from evolving. That's part of this grand plan. I talked about that a bit tonight. That's what they're trying to do here. So not only was this stuff, did they lie to farmers? And you think they didn't know? We couldn't have possibly have known this would make the bugs and the weeds more resistant. We couldn't possibly. They've known that for years. We know that's a lie because how long have we had pests, cockroaches, and everything else in our houses that have grown resistant to things over the years? All these different pest control companies have had to change their formulas for years and years and years because the cockroaches and everything else just get immune to it after a while. Here's another one from the AP concerning Monsanto. Monsanto seeks okay for low-fat soybean. So all you vegetarians and vegans out there, listen up to this. The soybean industry is seeking government approval of a genetically modified soybean it says will produce oil lower in saturated fat, offers consumers a healthier alternative to foods containing trans fats and increased demand from growers' crops. Now, let me ask you this. If according to that last article, we already have Monsanto telling us that, don't worry, let us handle your pest problem, don't worry, it's going to be fine. And what happened? They end up with more of a pest problem. Do you think for a goddamn minute we're going to believe them when they tell us that they're going to try and produce a genetically modified soybean that's going to be lower in saturated fat? What does that tell you is probably going to happen? You're probably going to ingest this, and it's probably going to produce like quadruple the amount of saturated fat in your body because everything they say turns out to be the opposite of what they fucking promise. We have got to get these sons of bitches out of our food chain fast. I mean, everybody always talks about armed conflict and, let's have us a civil war and take over the government like the founding fathers and fight for our Constitution. But nobody ever talks about, let's have a fucking war with Monsanto. Somebody needs to declare war on those motherfuckers. I'm not saying that, you should or I'm going to or anything else. I'm just saying, theoretically, all these clowns running around talking about, let's declare war on the government because they declared war on us. How about we declare war on these motherfuckers? I mean, these guys are food terrorists as far as I'm concerned. You don't like that? Well, government doesn't like that, do they? The government really doesn't like it when you turn around and call them the terrorists. Well, indeed, that's what they are. They're the fucking terrorists. Interesting, last night we talked about WikiLeaks now, they're just magically lost the Bank of America documents because of some internal conflict. Well, seems now as they're trying to play damage control for this, something big is on the horizon. I have my speculations. They haven't told us what this is yet. I have my speculations. This is going to be something that's going to make try to make people believe Julian Assange and WikiLeaks are big heroes. Some big revelation is going to come soon out of this. Another stage disclosure. Hell, it might have something to do with extraterrestrials. You never know. This might be part of the stage disclosure thing. I don't know, but listen to this. WikiLeaks released a mysterious encrypted file on Wednesday after telling its followers on Twitter to stand by for an important announcement. WikiLeaks did not identify the contents of the 571 megabyte file, and it could not be opened without a decryption key, which the anti-secrecy website said would be released at the appropriate moment. In July of last year, WikiLeaks posted what it called an insurance file, which was also encrypted. According to press reports, the 1.4 gigabyte file was intended for public release in the event of something untoward happening to WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. Assange is currently fighting extradition from Britain to Sweden, where he's wanted to face questioning over allegations of rape and sexual assault. The release of the latest mystery file comes just days after WikiLeaks published more than 130,000 U.S. diplomatic cables from what it says is a cache of more than 251,000 documents. Without confirming the authenticity of the latest documents, State Department spokeswoman Victoria Nuland said the United States strongly condemns any illegal disclosure of classified information. And that's how you know this is a whole spook op. Because, as I talked about many times, nobody wants illegal info, bro. None of us out here who call ourselves researchers want any sort of info that's obtained in illegal means. Everybody knows that's suicide. That's the stupidest thing you can do. Oh, let's get us a hacker. We're going to hack into some Pentagon files. Get us some Pentagon files by aliens. Bullshit. These motherfuckers have the ability to make you disappear from history altogether. I mean, they can make you look like you never even existed. All this stuff's controlled, but my question is this indeed, some sort of, something happening to Assange, so they're letting something out? They've hinted about aliens and stuff before. I don't know. We'll have to keep our eyes peeled on this. Just as I predicted, we have another hurricane brewing in the east. They'll probably not. Oh, it ain't going to be no bad thing. Yep. No, we don't need to evacuate. Bam! 5 million people get killed. Widespread waste and fraud in war spending. Imagine that. I mean, really? Really? I mean, I appreciate the effort. I appreciate them actually reporting this for once, but folks, it's September 2011. Really? We just now figured this one out? As much as $60 billion in U.S. tax dollars has been lost to waste and fraud in Iraq and Afghanistan over the past decade due to lax oversight of contractors, poor planning, and corruption, according to an independent panel. Womp womp. We're sorry we screwed up. We make mistakes like everybody else does. We won't do it again. Give us some more money. Same thing after 9/11. We had no idea we were going to be attacked. They caught us off guard. We can't communicate between law enforcement agencies because of your goddamn Constitution. We can't, track and trace everything that's going on without a warrant and all this stuff because of the goddamn Constitution. So if you want to be safe from Al Qaeda under your bed, you're going to have to give us more power. Yahoo!
Suck Satan's cock.
I mean, it's completely ridiculous. In its final report to Congress, it will be released Wednesday. The Commission on Wartime Contracting said the waste could grow. And we're talking about, what we're going to do about our economy? We need to have us a super Congress. Oh, my God. That $60 billion went to waste and that'll never come back. Well, you know where this money went. It meant paying people off and everything else. And, oh, yeah, you guys hear about this? Guess who, talk about priest-class Jesuit Knights of Malta Control bozos. My God, they're putting General Petraeus, David Petraeus, guaranteed to Petraeus, leaving the Army after 37 years to head the CIA. Boy, this is fucking fantastic news. That's, wow. That's just what we need. In the past, they've been a lot more, discreet about who they put at the head of the CIA, Poppy Bush, all the other guys before him during the Kennedy times that were, Wild Bill Donovan, all those guys, Knights of Malta. But my God, they're putting oh my God, this bloodthirsty son of a bitch in charge of the CIA now. That means that if you thought that the CIA was militarized already, baby, you ain't seen nothing yet. This signals the full militarization of the Central Intelligence Agency of the United States, which in turn makes them exactly the same now. I don't know how many people are pointing this out, but it's a fact. Up until now, our CIA had not been on par with the Israeli Mossad and MI6. We've always sort of been a different sort of arm than they've been. Mossad has been more into doing things like, domestic terrorism and staging coups d'etats and overthrows. The CIA has been involved in all that stuff too, no question. But they weren't as intimately connected with the armies and the war machines. I mean, this basically signals the full-blown completion of a Mossad-style intelligence agency in the United States of America. This is it. That's what this is. I mean, I'm blown away by this. I mean, everything that's going on in the world and everything that we see points to them doing the only thing that they're strengthening is the war machine. They're not weakening the war machine. They're not lessening how much they're spending on war, how many people are. They're increasing it, folks. And these brain dead Obama lovers just sit back and go, "Oh, Obama's anti-war, yeah." You guys hear about this D.C. police officer who's been going around taking pop shots at trannies? What the fuck's going on with that? I mean, there's a lot of people, and a lot of idiots walking around out there. A lot of people, sometimes you just, I'd love to take a shot at that motherfucker. God damn, that motherfucker's dumb, But trannies, come on, dude. You got nothing better to do, especially when you're a cop. You're a cop, and you got nothing better to do than shoot at trannies. Go roll them or something, fuck. Don't beat them with a nightstick. But you shooting at trannies while you're drunk? What is this guy, fucking Officer Leahy or something? D.C. police officer accused of drunkenly shooting at transgendered people who's been punished at least twice for alcohol-related incidents. It's fucking Leahy. Charging documents released Monday described how Kenneth Furr crashed his Cadillac into another vehicle early Friday morning, stood on the hood of the victim's vehicle and shouted, "I'm going to kill all of you!" And started firing off rounds at random trannies. Jesus Christ, man. That's your fucking law enforcement, folks. These guys are getting drunk and slamming their cars into fucking other cars and getting up and popping off rounds and screaming at trannies. This shit is out of fucking control. God damn. I can't believe it. What the fuck is this guy? Man, that's the last motherfucker you want to get. I mean, this guy pulled you over. Sorry, you've been drinking tonight. Fucking falling down, pissing himself, smelling like fucking alcohol and shit. Here's rolled up asking you if you've been drinking. Are you heading? Well, I'm going to take a shot at this tranny over here then. Fuck you. Have a good night. Pow, pow, pow. What the fuck? We are fucked. We're not fucked, but we're fucked. Does that make any sense? I really do feel like that. Every day I wake up now, I'm like, you know what? The world's fucked, but it's not fucked. And you say that to someone, they don't get it. They don't know what you mean. How can you say the world's fucked, but yet you still have hope? I don't know. I really don't know, but yes, that is what I believe. Oh, this is rich. Listen to this. For 2 years, the United States regarded Rosoboroneport, Russia's official weapons exporter, as an international pariah for selling arms to Iran and Syria, right? Then in 2010, the U.S. suddenly lifted sanctions against it. By June of this year, the reversal was complete, and the Pentagon awarded the company a no-bid contract worth upwards of $1 billion. How How exactly did the United States end up spending taxpayer dollars on Russian equipment with no competition? I mean, you see, this is how our government works. Oh, they're sanctions. They're selling. They're bad. They're selling weapons to Iran and Syria. All right, here's a no bid contract. We'll buy plenty of shit from you. Yeah, you can read all that on your own time. I'm going to move on to it. But yeah, it's just, God damn. Unbelievable, the balls on these people. Thousands of Washington lobbyists are scrambling to influence the work of a congressional super committee given the job of identifying up to $1.5 trillion in deficit reductions, with many worried about how to gain access to its 12 members. The lobbyists are going crazy because they can't figure out a way to steer who's going to get these deficit reduction cuts and who isn't. I mean, it's all about greed and power and money, these fuckers. And the only goal is to make sure that the greed and the power and all this stuff is just perpetuated, not brought to an end. Last night we were talking about how they're all of a sudden, oh, well, it looks like bird flu is making a return. You thought it was over. You thought you were going to make it through the summer. But now, swine flu 2, the return. This time, it's personal. And, the swine flu's coming back. Oh, the black plague's coming back. All this shit. Oh, yeah, you didn't hear? Yeah, there's cholera outbreaks going around. What are we, back in the fucking dark ages again? And they think that we just, shit just goes down the memory hole and we forget the 1,500 fucking articles they printed over the past 4 years saying that Fort Detrick, Maryland, and all these other big bioweapons facilities here in the United States have been, going and digging up old bodies and finding live specimens of Ebola and fucking Black Plague. And why the fuck do they need this and, to even study this? And then all of us say, you watch, they're going to, couple of years, they'll roll this. I remember saying this 2 or 3 years ago, back when I was doing my show on Oracle. 2009, whenever they had the swine flu shit break out. And they had all these stories coming out about, different bioweapons. You guys might remember that if you were listening to the show then or paying attention to the news and stuff. Then they were coming out with all these stories saying that, H1N1 actually came out of a government laboratory along with all these other different, plagues and viruses and stuff they've been they've been studying. And I said, you watch, in a couple of years, they'll probably start rolling this stuff out. And now they are rolling out again. And people are going, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. We didn't say we were looking into that stuff. Florida health officials are reporting a swine flu death. Here we go. Florida health officials say an 80-year-old woman has died after contracting the swine flu. Can we see a corpse, please? Because I still, after 2 years, have not met anyone who knows somebody's sisters, cousins, brothers, uncles, niece, or nephew saw Bueller pass out the 31 flavors last night that knows somebody that contracted this fucking swine flu. Can't find a nary a case. I've asked. Hey, you ever met somebody that knew somebody that had somebody that banged somebody that screwed somebody that may have known somebody or overheard somebody that had H1N1? Nope, can't find one anywhere. So here it is. Here we go. Ramp up that fear. Ramp up that threat. Everything is a threat. You may get swine flu. You may get MSRA. You may get bed bugs. You may get cockroaches. You may get GMO foods. You may get Nibiru. You may get comets. You may get all this stuff. By the way, we'll talk about, we've got some emails we'll get into tonight as well. Way more news here than I expected tonight. Cloud control, giant lasers fired into the sky could be used to create rainfall. Really? I thought that you were a kook, crazy conspiracy theorist if you talked about weather modification. Oh, that's right. As long as it's mainstream news, then it's acceptable, right? If I talk about it, it's a conspiracy theory. But if the mainstream news talk about, oh, well, it's real facts. Yep, I saw that on the news. Can't tell you how many times it's happened to me. I tried to beat somebody over the head with a piece of information for, years. And then it'll pop up on the news one day in the back. I saw something on TV the other day. They was talking about cloud seeding. I guess they can do that now. And I'll be like, I told you fucking years ago they could do that. Britons are notoriously obsessed with the weather, especially rain clouds. Now, according to scientists, it seems they will soon be able to create their own washout conditions. Soon be able to create, yeah. Yeah, there's no historical precedent for them washing out the Ho Chi Minh Trail. There's no evidence of that using silver iodine. They've been modeling the weather for fucking decades. Come on. Only an idiot would say, oh, they're finally able to wash out weather conditions. So all those other stories that have come out up till now, China doing it, Russia doing it before a Paul McCartney concert, on and on and on, all that stuff is just never happened, I guess. I love this. Well, we can create water droplets in here. We can make it rain. Yep, here we go. And then you know what it's going to be. Well, yeah, we have this technology, but it's going to be extortion. That's what all the new technology is going to be. Don't you understand? It's a giant extortion racket. Yes, you can have this cure. Yes, you can have this. Yes, you can have that. But it's going to cost you. And it's going to cost you in just more money. It's going to cost you in servitude and in loyalty to the state or to the corporate entity. That's what all this stuff was about. Technology becoming your God, your religion, and you giving your undying servitude to that until you die, period, in the story. I got to say, though, I've been saving this one for the entirety of the broadcast, and I've got to get into this one now. This has got to take the cake. I'm serious, for absolute moonbat kookery of all time. Here we go. You guys ready for this one? This is super duper right here. This is another one of those Examiner.com articles. If you don't know, just a tip for people out there who might send me articles from the Examiner.com. Understand this. I literally, and I should do this sometime, and I will do it if somebody will pay for it. I think it's like $200 or whatever to pay for a press release and to pay for an article on Examiner.com. But I'll literally do this if somebody will find out how much it costs and pay for it. But I'll literally do it and show you, prove it to you. You can post a fucking article on here that says, tomorrow at 3 p.m. on the White House lawn, flying monkeys and kangaroos will come out of Barack Obama's asshole. Thank you, the end. And they'll print that shit. I'm not kidding you, dude. That's how most of these, you can do that on Yahoo News as well. They'll print anything. Anybody can have news stories put into the mainstream media if they have money putting behind it. I could write articles every day and if we wanted to pump hundreds of dollars into every day, we could get our news stories out there. It doesn't matter. But this Alfred Lambremont Weber, I've been told from numerous listeners and people who know about this guy better than I do, he's a constant source of disinfo. I don't have all the particulars, but just listen to this. You guys are going to love this. In an exclusive Exopolitics TV interview by Alfred Lambremont Weber with a human representative contactee of the Extraterrestrial Governance Council known as the Andromeda Council. Oh, that's just rich right there. Let me give that to you one more again. In an interview with a human representative contactee of the Extraterrestrial Governance Council known as the Andromeda Council, somebody needs to lay off the PCP. That's all I'm saying. I'm not here to judge. I'm just saying. Maybe you want to smoke a little less of the angel dust, Holmes. It has been revealed that the war of liberation against the fourth dimensional Orion Gray and Draco Reptilian Alliance has been won by the forces of the Andromeda Council as of the third quarter of 2011. The attempted occupation of Earth, our moon, and Mars by this Gray Reptilian Alliance is over. The defeated Gray Reptilian forces have been sent via Stargate into the far reaches of the universe. The Andromeda Council representative states in his Exopolitics TV interview that the forces of the fourth dimensional Orion Gray and Draco Reptilian forces that remain on Earth consist of small pockets of isolated forces around such areas as Washington, D.C. Not to worry, folks. All the Gray and Draco Reptilians left the planet. Only problem is they're all still in Washington, D.C. Guess what? That Obama's a reptilian. Uh-oh. Get your reptile bait, boys. We's going hunting tonight. Mm-hmm. My God, this is pure comedy. Now, first off, before Let me finish reading this before I tear it a new asshole. Just hear me out. According to the Andromeda account, I guess this is greatness, man. According to the Andromeda, this is why motherfuckers won't look into the kind of stuff we talk about on this show and other shows out there like it. It's this kind of stuff. They put this out there to poison the well. And the sad thing is a lot of people who talk about the kind of stuff I talk about, they'll get roped into this kind of shit. I see it all the time, man. No offense to y'all out there, but, and you know who you are. I got, friends I know personally, friends on Facebook, friends, listen to the show. But man, seriously, y'all got to calm down and not buy into every little conspiracy and every little alien thing that comes out. You got to have discernment, folks. People are taking this fucking common element thing and they're just buying it hook, line, and sinker. Meanwhile, we've got Levy and all these other comments that nobody's talking about. It just blows my mind. Yeah, let me finish the article. Hold on. Where'd it go? I hate when I do that. According to the Andromeda Council representative, the defeat of the Orion, Gray, and Reptilian occupation force on Earth, Moon, and Mars has the effect of leaving the Illuminati and Anunnaki power structure on Earth, Moon, and Mars without any effective fourth-dimensional backup. Any attempt by the remaining Gray and Reptilian forces to assist Illuminati false flag ET invasion? Huh? Doesn't make any sense. Any attempt by the remaining Gray and Reptilian forces to assist Illuminati false flag ET invasion will be defeated, and any false flag ET invasion will fail? Now, right there, that just tells you right there this whole thing's coming from bullshit. Because there is no proof that there's going to be a false flag ET invasion. Anyway, that false flag stuff comes, that's just Jonesy speak, man. Come on, y'all. I mean, I can tear this to shreds. The other bullshit of the fact is they're saying that Gray and Reptilian forces working together. Now, anybody who's researched this for any period of time will tell you that if those things do indeed exist, the Grays and the Reptilians, they're way two different, complete opposite things, and they don't, according to testimony from whistleblowers and allegedly people who have worked on the inside of government, allegedly seen these things and been privy to inside information, have come forward about this stuff. They're two different things. And okay, there were several whistleblowers who came out. I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. I talked about the Eisenhower era agreement that was made with the Grays in exchange for them to be able to test certain people in the population, run tests on certain humans, that they would give us technology. And there was a whistleblower several years ago. I read some of the information on the show in past episodes in the past couple of years. And it talked about how this individual who was allegedly privy to inside information said that they were going to roll out the Grays first. The Grays were going to give us some great invention or great cure, like the cure for cancer. And then they were going to say, in exchange for the cure for cancer, we need your help in order to fight off this other species of extraterrestrials called, dun dun dun, the Dracos, the Reptilians from Alpha Draconis, who want to enslave mankind and take their resources, and they want to kill our people too, so we need mankind to come together as a repayment of the favor of giving you the cure for cancer to defeat this other reptilian force, which allegedly doesn't actually want to enslave us, but is seen as a competitor or a threat to these Grays, and they're going to get us to basically wipe out, declare war against these other reptilians that actually mean us no harm or something, and we're supposed to wipe them out and all the rest of it. So whether that's true or not, I don't know either, but what I'm saying is that it runs contrary. We've got multiple things here that run contrary to people who have been on the inside, who have talked about this stuff, who've come forward. I mean, not to mention the fact that it says any false flag ET invasion will fail. And the Gray and Reptilian forces are going to assist. So the Greys and the Reptilians are going to join forces to help the Illuminati pull off a false flag alien invasion. Goddamn. I've heard some doozies in my time, but that one just takes the fucking cake. There was... God damn, son. Put some ointment on that shit. Oh, my God. That has got to be the funniest shit I've read all week. Can I just say it one more time, please? Gray and reptilian forces are going to assist the Illuminati in a false flag ET invasion. Boy, I love that. Because you know what, man? I've talked about some weird, crazy, kooky, wild stuff here on this show, and I look at stuff all the time. I got to tell you, never seen any evidence that would say that there's going to be Greys and Reptilians assisting the... Why would the Greys and Reptilians assist the quote-unquote Illuminati at staging an alien invasion? You'd think if they wanted to help them, they could just come down and go, blah, boogity, boogity. We're aliens, we're Greys, we're Reptilians, we're working with the government, blah. And we just go, oh, fuck, oh, my God, fucking aliens, blah. Right? But no, that's not the case, according to this guy. According to this guy, the Greys and the Reptilians are working behind the scenes with the Illuminati to make everybody think there's an ET invasion. That sounds kind of redundant, doesn't it? I mean, you're telling me somebody behind the scenes is going, hey guys, just a quick thought, quick idea here. Hear me out. So instead of you guys, telling us what to do and how to fake an alien invasion, make everybody believe it, would it be easier if you're a reptilian, you're a gray, and you guys look pretty fucking spooky? I mean, no offense. But would it be more effective if you guys maybe just, held a press conference on the roof of the UN building or something like they did in V and declare that you're here? Wouldn't that be enough to get everybody convinced there's a threat of ET, and then we'll just, send up drone planes and tell them they're spaceships and get ready to blow it up, and we'll stage an alien invasion? No, we have to do it this way. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But I have to say that definitely gets the faggotry award of the week right there for news articles.
Satan's cock.
Filth. My God. I had to put a link to it. You guys got to read that shit, man. That is just over the top. Way over the top. Hey, you ever wondered about this? I certainly have. Every time I go on a road trip, I think about this. Why the return journey always seems quicker. You ever notice that? You come back from a trip, it always seems like it takes you a lot quicker to get back than it did to get there. Apparently there's a scientific basis for that now. Most people returning from holiday feel the journey home passes by much quicker than the outward leg. Even though both distances and journey are usually the same, the way back still seems shorter. Scientists believe this return trip effect is not caused by being more familiar with the route on a return journey, as previously thought, but because of different expectations. Lead researcher Niels van Den of Tilburg University in the Netherlands said people often underestimate how long the outward journey takes, and this is therefore experienced as long. Based on that feeling, the traveler expects the return journey to be long as well, and this then turns out to be shorter than expected. An over-optimistic prior estimation of the journey time leads to the illusion of the return journey being shorter. I always wondered about that. So I guess there is a scientific basis for that. Well, that's good to know. I knew this was an op back when it started happening, I guess about 4 years ago when I started going on air. One of the big stories in that time was this company that when I started on air back in 2007. That's when this company started producing those Liberty dollars and the Ron Paul dollars. Alex Jones was selling them on his website. Everybody, a lot of websites had these guys, as a sponsor, and I just smelled an op for these guys from day one. And this was happening right around the time the Edna Lane Brown tech situation thing was happening. And there was this guy named Sean Cranish who ended up being the guy who narked out the Browns and brought the feds in and got them arrested. And it was interesting because before that, I was like, well, isn't that very interesting? This guy, Sean Cranish, not only was he admitted this in a phone conversation to Ed Brown that was broadcast over the air, that he was responsible for bringing in the Fed that brought down Edna Lane Brown. But not only that, before that, this guy Cranish was walking around a campus in Chicago with a gun holster on. He didn't have a gun in it, just a holster. and he got arrested. And when he got arrested, guess who came to his rescue? Larry Pratt. Mr. Contra, Mr. South American Gun Squad, Mr. We need Contra militias in America. Yeah, he comes to his rescue, pays for his attorney fees, all this. They make a big deal out of it, big gun issue out of it, right? And then after that, what happens? This guy gets caught going in trying to pay for his meal with one of these Liberty dollars. And they arrest him, and it's all in the news, and they're saying it's not currency, and they're really trying to build it up. Well, then the next thing you know, after that case happens, the feds go in and raid the Liberty dollar thing, some of which people had already paid for these things in advance in big money, never got their coins, never got reimbursed for their money. And guess who the gentleman was, it turns out, that got caught using this Liberty dollar to pay for his dinner? That ended up sparking the whole reason why Liberty dollars got raided in the first place. You guessed it. Mr. Sean Cranish yet again. So let me get this straight. This guy's involved in not only bringing in the Fed that brought Edna Lane Brown down, admittedly being backed by Larry Pratt after he walked around on a campus with a gun holster for some odd reason to stir up shit. And then he's also the guy that was solely responsible for bringing the Liberty dollar thing to the attention of the feds, which inadvertently made them raid them. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. This thing has been an op from the get-go, and this is another one of those events, I believe, that's going to be used to justify armed conflict in the eyes of gun owners, conspiracy people, truthers, patriots, that whole thing, because now they're saying that, well, the government, they're calling this a Ponzi scheme, but the government is a Ponzi scheme too, blah, blah, blah. You're getting everybody wound up about this one. Unbelievable, man. Let's see if we have any more news here tonight before we move on, and I don't think we do. I think that's about all the news I have to cover tonight. Well, we're going to take a break and come back. I may have one or two more stories to cover here tonight. We'll have to see. I know I've got some emails I want to get into. We're also going to be reading from Lost Book of Inky for you here tonight on the broadcast. Back here with you on the Global Reality, right here on the Global Reality Radio Network. I'm your host, Josh Reeves. Thanks for being with us here tonight for another late night Moonbat edition of the broadcast. A lot of show left for you here tonight. Got listener emails, just a few here tonight. A couple more news articles I missed, not a lot. And I'll get through all this stuff fast, and we'll get into Lost Book of Inky for you here tonight on the broadcast as well. This is our fundraising week. Tomorrow the bills come up due. We're about $200 short from our goal. We need to raise that so we can make sure we get everything cleared and paid for the month. Please use the donate button, the achievement banner we're saving for the September fundraiser. But please use the donate button if you can, and we've got to get that goal met. People, please help us if you can. That's all we have left. We've gotten real close with the support of our listening audience out there this month, and we've just got a short ways to go. We need to get there by tomorrow, so please help us out. TheGlobalReality.com. Use the donate button there, or my direct PayPal email address, dayglow76@yahoo.com, and help us get that taken care of, so we'll be good on the month for the bills there. Keeps us commercial free, uncensored. That's how we do it here with the support of our listening audience. And that keeps us from having to, bring up people who want to sell you their products in the middle of a show. I mean, how awful is that? How awful is it to be doing a show that's about information, but yet you have to stop your show every 15 minutes or whatever so somebody can try to sell you a bunch of products that, the guy who's doing the radio show is not going to reap any benefits for. That was the whole thing for me for years. All these networks I'm on, never once did they ever offer any sort of incentive program the incentive program was, you get to do your radio show. Really? That's my incentive program. And I, in the past, have had networks, really seriously make me do live reads on air, make me plug and promote their sponsors while I'm on air, of which I would see no money from. That's ridiculous. So back in 2009, when I started this network, I just said, we're not going to do that. And thankfully, with the support of our audience out there and our continued support of our audience, we haven't had to do that. And I sleep good at night knowing that, because I was told that you couldn't run a network unless you did that, unless you sold gold and all that, water filters and all that stuff. Well, 4 years of the show, going on 2 years of the network in December, and thank goodness to you guys out there. You've helped me prove everybody else that ever said that to me wrong. It's important that we do things like that every now and again, don't you think? Don't you think it's important that we have a network like this where, you know, I felt like a hypocrite for the longest time because I've been talking about free speech and rights and everything, but yet I wasn't giving myself free speech or rights. I wasn't, you know, I was restricting myself, not saying cuss words, you know, when I wanted to, or having to worry about that or anything else, you know, under the guise that, we got to get our shows on AM and FM stations and networks. I never reaped one benefit of that either. I had my show on AM and FM stations. Hell, I was on a 50,000 watt FCC station for a while. Didn't see an increase in listenership. Didn't see an increase in the support of my work or anything at all. Never saw any benefit from any of the things that I was told restricting my show and what I had to say would give me. It never came about. So that, you know, if you're ever in that situation like that, you know, people told me, you can't start your own network because, to be honest with you, when Oracle Broadcasting started, after Mike collapsed TrueNet Radio and wasn't going to do anymore, the original idea to start a new network was my idea. And then Doug and Lee and the other guys that was over with there at TrueNet Radio kind of ran with the idea and started having it, you know, started getting it going. And I was consulting on how we would do it and all that stuff. But I was always told, you know, that it was impossible to do that. Well, it's not impossible. Nothing's impossible. So please support our work if you can and help us, because once we pay the bills, you know, we're not going to have anything left. So we also need support for that as well. So thank you so much to everybody out there. Let's see here what we have in the mailbag tonight. It says, let's see here. This was from George. I think I got a few from George to cover tonight. So you got my attention, George. I'll do my best to field your questions here. George says, I think something major is definitely going down in the next few weeks. Excuse me. I don't know if it's going to be some attack on the East Coast, West Coast, Los Alamos, or the New Madrid fault line, but, you know, Mossad, etc., will not pass up an opportunity like the 10th year anniversary of 9/11, when 9 is the fall and 11 is the death. That's a good point, my friend. Los Angeles and Washington State have flood symbolism all over them. Who knows? God help us all on 11/11/11. If we get past that without a major false flag, I will be shocked and awed. Take care, George. That sort of leads me into an article I wanted to cover here tonight, George. From New York Times, White House issues guides on September 11th observances. Does this seem odd to anybody else but you? The White House has had to issue official guidelines on how to properly observe September 11th? I mean, I hate to overuse and say that, everything sounds, Orwellian or Nazi-like, but this sounds very Reich-like to me. Doesn't this sound like very Nazi-ish? An official sanctioned way that you have to observe 9/11? Fuck you, asshole. I'm going to observe the motherfucker however I want to fucking observe it. I'm not going to have the goddamn White House and the government tell me how I'm going to observe 9/11. Here, I'll tell you how to observe 9/11. Suck my dick. That's how you observe it. Get on your knees, open your mouth, and suck my dick. That's how you observe 9/11. Thank you, government. Thank you, White House. I appreciate that. The White House has issued detailed guidelines to government officials on how to commemorate the 10th anniversary of the September 11th attacks, with instructions to honor the memory of those who died on American soil, but also to recall that Al-Qaeda and other extremist groups have since carried out attacks elsewhere in the world, from Mumbai to Manila. The White House in recent days has quietly disseminated two sets of documents. One is framed for overseas allies and their citizens and was sent to American embassies and consulates around the globe. The other includes themes for Americans here and underscores the importance of national service and what the government has done to prevent another major attack in the U.S. Oh, we've done so much to prevent this. You don't even know. Without us, you would have another attack. That single-page document was issued to all federal agencies, officials said. After weeks of internal debate, White House officials adopted the communications document to shape public events and official statements, and they sought to strike a delicate balance between messages designed for these two very important but very difficult audiences on a day when the world's attention will be focused on President Barack Obama, his leadership team, and his nation. And but it goes on, and it goes on to talk about, there very well could be other attacks happening at this time. That's why I wanted to read this. It's 2 pages. I'm not going to read it all, but we'll try to get it up on the website for you. But that's exactly, and I did put it in the chat room already. Sorry about that. I didn't realize I'd already done that. Yeah, an official statement, but that's what they're saying, George. And I'm glad I don't know, man. It very well could be. I've said it once, and I've also said if I'm wrong about this, I'll admit I'm wrong. I doubt very seriously they're going to run. If people are saying there's going to be another 9/11 on 9/11, I don't know. There very well may be. I just don't know. I don't know for sure, so I can't say. Let's see what else we have here. This says, good evening, Josh. Not sure if you ever covered the story on Randy Quaid. Yes, I did actually cover that. But it popped up in my research recently and would love to hear your thoughts on what happened to him. The mainstream tabbed him as crazy, which we know is what they do when they want to discredit someone. He kept saying his brother was behind a lot of it, and they were trying to kill him for his royalties, which, as you can see from this list, has to be huge. Maybe have him on as a guest, eh? Not totally serious there, but he might have some good info. I'd love to have Randy Quaid on the show. Are you kidding? Fuck yeah, I'd have Randy Quaid on the show. He's a fucking awesome actor. And you know what? I think I 100% totally believe him. He believes that, and I believe this too. I found it in my own research. Yeah, and there's absolutely a massive, royalties are like gold, man. They're like they're liquid assets. And if you think that people like, Courtney Love, who's a Jew, by the way, and, Yoko Ono and all these clowns. I mean, if you think that women don't insert themselves and sometimes are controlled by higher entities, Tavistock, Yoko was fucking 100% a Tavistock agent. Probably more than her running around. Hell, fucking Courtney Love could have been as well. We don't know. But absolutely, 100%, no question about it. These groups insert these women into these situations and get them, sacked up with these famous guys so they can later turn around, oh, he died of a heroin overdose, or, oh, he died of, auto asphyxiation or whatever bullshit they make up, or he suicided himself. And, boom, they run away with the royalties and the riches and everything else, and they probably pay off the people that made it happen. If I brought him on, though, the only problem would be is I would probably not let him leave my show unless he said, shitter got full. How you doing? Morning there. Shitter was full. Remember that? Was that Christmas Vacation where he's out there like fucking scratching his nuts with a wife beater on like 7 a.m., pouring the fucking shitter from his fucking camper into the neighbor's lawn or whatever have you. God damn, that shit was classic. But absolutely, I do believe that Randy Quaid is telling the truth. And I do believe that probably somebody is trying to kill him to take his royalties and all the rest of stuff. No doubt about it. Yeah, if anybody knows how to get a hold of Randy Quaid, tell him to get a hold of me. Well, I'll have him on in a heartbeat. Damn right. I don't know how many people have had him on to talk about that stuff. I believe him for one. I'd have him on to talk about it. Hell yeah. He deserves his day in court as much as anybody does, at least in the court of public opinion. The mainstream might not believe him or let him talk about that stuff, but I'll certainly let him come here and say whatever the fuck he wants to say about it. Hell yeah. Hi, Josh. Laughing my fucking ass off over the sperm article you read last night. Oh, yeah. So, by the way, that special's still going on. We didn't get any takers on last night's show, but yeah, if my offer still stands. $1,000 in the donate button will get you a nice hot frozen sample of my freshly squozen man juice. Yeah, we're still offering you that. Next 24 hours, though, then we're going to end it. Literally, there was a story last night. If you didn't hear last night's show, you got to go back and listen to it. It was hilarious. What the hell is this country coming to? Can't freaking believe the bullshit that is dished out on a daily basis up here. This person is from Canada. That's why they're saying that. That's where that article was taking place at. Been listening to the podcast over the last few weeks, trying to catch up on almost a year. Been on the road, so to speak, on four wheels a lot. Shit happens in life. The spirit is still strong, will not be swayed. I will say it is good to hear your voice up here. Things are changing fast. Most people in Victoria are oblivious to many things. I have shared your site with those who are willing to hear, as I always have. My sincere condolences about your dad passing. Just heard about that on today's podcast. Thank you for that. You are so on target with all that you say. It still amazes me that things that you spoke of over the years are coming to the forefront now. Aha moments, too many to name. You know what? I've been getting a lot of emails lately. A lot of people who used to listen to me back in 2007 and 2008 and 2009 and stuff when I was on Oracle have found I guess they just thought I, went by the wayside or quit and all this. I'll never quit. I'll never go by the wayside. Not until they put me in a fucking box. Got me? But fact of the matter is that a lot of people lately have found the show again because of my appearance on Red Ice, and that people, that show apparently just went fucking apeshit viral, man. I don't know. It's been nuts. I'd like to say I've seen an uptick in our support for our network and our broadcast and making our films, but we haven't. But hopefully we will in the future. But a lot of people who thought, who listened to me several years ago found me again, and that's been the biggest thing that people have been saying to me. People are saying, man, I remember you talking about stuff in 2007, 2008, and damn, I'll be damned if it's not happening right now. That's crazy, man. I mean, but it's hard for me to deal with that, too, because, all the things that all of us, who've done this kind of work have been talking about for years is now here. It's not coming anymore, folks. It's here. Thank you for your insight and sharing with all of us. Your work and research is appreciated more than you know. I can't believe it's going to be 4 years. Me either. Congrats. Can't wait to see a new film. Is there any way I could order a copy, or is it too late? No, you can still pre-order those up at legalreality.com. It's under the videos, the documentary tab at the top. You should see what the sky looks like at night here. I'm sure you're familiar with, have seen similar thingies down there. It's more than before, that's for sure. Be well, keep centered. Peace and love always, Roxanne. Thank you very much, Roxanne, for the email there. George sent me another message and says, hey, Josh, I can tell a message when I see it. Froze this one from the bootleg. I ain't paying shit to these motherfuckers from Transformers. It's been the second person that sent me stuff on Transformers 3. Look, bottom line of it is Michael Bay gets script approval from the Pentagon so he can get all of their stuff in that film. This one was also done by Spielberg, another Illuminati clown. But one of our listeners had also sent us that clip of Chicago from Transformers 3 where the buildings are blowing up, and for a split second, one of them looks like the Twin Towers. It does. And that's totally put in there for trauma-based mind control. There's just no question to bring up that memory and that response to that. He says, shouldn't someone named Shia be an Arab or not a Jew? Well, Shia LaBeouf, you know what that name actually means? I'm not kidding you. This was in an article I read about Shia LaBeouf, beef of the gods. Man, seriously. If my name was beef of the gods, I wouldn't have time to be in movies. I'd just be rolling up into fucking bars full of women with my cock out saying, baby, you know what my name is? Beef of the gods, baby. Look, it's right on my driver's license. Look. No shit. Look right here. Look, beef of the gods. There it is. Look, you believe me? Look, beef of the fucking gods. Come on, let's go. And yeah, it's a picture. And on this picture, it says the word smeg. Like schmegma? Is that like schmegma? Schmegma? Smeg, S-M-E-G. It's got a picture of Beef of the Gods' parents in the movie, and one of them, they're like at Yellowstone. Now, everybody's been asking me about Yellowstone lately. There's been a lot of activity there with, bear maulings, and there's been, they've been doing fracking in that area for years up there. And last year, I think it was, they came out with all this information saying, oh, yeah, Yellowstone, it could go, it could blow and wipe out half the United States. And then within a day of that article coming out, oh, no. No, we don't have any reason to believe that. And then they came out with that Roland Emmerich terrible 2012 movie. And lo and behold, where does all the 2012 stuff start popping off in that movie? It starts popping off in Yellowstone. He says that SMEG, S-E-M-G, is gems backwards. Don't know what that means, but there's also a yellow postcard. I don't know. I don't have any ideas, but I think with that, between that and the 2012 movie thing, I think, yeah, they're alluding to something's going to happen in Yellowstone, and they're going to say, we don't know what caused this. We can't tell. It's going to be totally because of the fracking, everything else they've done there. It's just crazy insane. But I think that's all the news we have. I mean, all the emails we have tonight. Thanks to everybody for sending those in. Oh, I had one more from George. George had another one. He says, how come no one is talking about Levy, Shoemaker, and Honda? These other two comets. I feel you on the Nibiru misnomer propaganda, man, but it's probably all bogus anyway. But it's true that almost all stars are binary. Yeah. All I know all I know for sure is these butt pluggers are evil as hell, and they will try to kill us on the planet if the planet doesn't do it for them. Yeah, there has been little talked about Levy and Shoemaker and these other comets. They've talked about now that Elenin has been broken up and all this stuff. But yeah, I mean, all I can say is this, George, is that we have many cases and many precedent for them giving us a red herring. Look over here, look at the monkey, look at the silly monkey. Remember that from South Park? Every time somebody says, oh, look at the monkey, look at the silly monkey, look over here, woo, 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 woo. You know. And meanwhile, the thing over here they're not talking about is a threat. That's the same thing I found with the whole Nibiru thing. Nibiru is said to be a planet, not a star, not a brown dwarf, a planet. But they were calling something that's not Nibiru. Meanwhile, they're not even talking about Vulcan, which actually is said to have these same kind of catastrophic effects on our planet. The problem is, it doesn't tie in with 2012 and the whole Mayan calendar timeline, so nobody refuses to talk about it. Everybody just refuses to cover it, and nobody wants to talk about it. So, again, my honest answer to that is, George, I just don't know. I can't tell you there's a threat from Levy, and I can't tell you there's a threat from any of those things. All I can tell you is just to keep looking at it, keep following it, and keep seeing if, you notice anything strange happening with it. All right. We are ready to get into the 12th tablet for you here tonight out of the Lost Book of Enki. I want to read a little bit of the synopsis again for you that I read last night, because I read it last night, but I'd like to read this again, because to me, this is very, very interesting what it's about to get into. It's about to show you how the hierarchical structures of both government and religion and society itself were set up in Sumer, ancient Sumeria, by these Anunnaki. It's going to show you how these same Anunnaki, sons of Enki, set up shop on hierarchies of government, the priest class, and society in Egypt. So we're about to get into some fascinating info here tonight. So I hope you all stay with us and continue listening here as we get into this. Probably going to do about another 30 minutes or so here tonight. Synopsis of the 12th tablet. The soil's dry, plains and river valleys are resettled. Plentiful gold comes from the lands. Oh, I just lost my place again. From the lands, plentiful gold comes from the lands beyond the seas. Anu and his spouse Antu arrive for a memorable visit. Reminiscing, the leaders realize they are destiny's pawns. They allocate 3 regions of civilization to mankind. Pardoned by the departing Anu, Marduk remains rebellious. The first region and space facilities are Imlalite lands. Man's first civilization begins in the first region, Sumer. Marduk usurps a site to build an illicit launch tower. Frustrated by the Imlalites, Marduk seizes the second region. He deposes and exiles Ningazita, Toth. Again, haha, in your face, motherfucker. All those motherfuckers out there, oh no, Toth is not an Anunnaki, he's Egyptian. Egyptians ain't got nothing to do with Anunnakis. Really? Is that right? I've literally been told that by researchers and people in radio hosts and stuff before. I'm not even kidding you. It's not my problem you don't do your research. It's not my problem you don't read. Don't take it out on me. Ah, damn, man. He declares himself Ra, supreme God in a new religion. He introduces pharaonic reigns to mark a new civilization. Enlil assigns his son Ishkur to protect the metal sources. Inanna is granted dominion in the third region, the Indus Valley. And here we start the 12th tablet. To come to Earth one more time, Anu decided. He wished to come with his spouse Antu. While they awaited his arrival, the Anunnaki reestablished abodes in the Eden again. From the mountain lands where descendants of Shem dwelt, to the olden land the black-headed people migrated. There you go. The black-headed people going into Africa. Upon the newly dried soil, the Anunnaki let them settle to provide food for all, where Eridu, Enki's first city, had stood before the deluge. On top of the myriads of mud and slit, a new Eridu was marked out. In its center, upon a raised platform, an abode for Enki and Ninki was built. House of Tile Lord, whose return is triumphant, it was called. With gold and silver and precious metals by Enki's sons, provided it was adorned. Above in a circle skyward pointing, they were pointing towards the 12 constellations that were marked out by their signs. Below, as in the Abzu, waters with swimming fishes were flowing. In a sanctuary, a place that no uninvited can enter, Enki kept the ME formulas. Now, a listener sent me an email tonight and said that maybe ME means mitochondrial extraction. I'd have to say, judging from what they've said here, that I have to agree with that. So thank you to our listener who sent that suggestion. Yeah, I think that's probably what it is. Because it talked about when they created the ark, that they put in the ark, they put, the MEs for each creature in there. Remember it talked about that? We read that a couple weeks ago or something. So mitochondrial extractions, yeah. So I could be wrong about that. He could be wrong about that. But just judging by the context, they're using this term me, means they use it every time they're talking about formulas or doing genetic manipulation. So yeah, mitochondrial extractions. Mitochondrial DNA. Good catch there, listener. In a sanctuary, a place that no uninvited can enter, Enki kept the mitochondria extractions. For Enlil, Enmil, and Ninlil, a next Nibiru key atop the mud slit was established. Amid its peoples and dwellings and cattle folds and stalls, a sacred precinct was walled off. An abode for Enlil and Ninlil was built therein. In 7 stages it arose. A stairway rising as to heaven to the topmost platform led. Is this talking about like a ziggurat? His tablets of destinies Enlil did keep there. With his weapons it was protected. The lifted eye that scans the lands, the lifted beam that penetrates all. That's the lifted eye. That sounds like because we talked about, I think last week, they talked about creating the Sphinx, and they referenced something about this all-seeing eye before, as if the all-seeing eye is actually an entity, an actual thing. That's also referenced by Manly P. Hall, and I found that very interesting because it talked about the Anunnaki built the Sphinx and all this stuff, and I was going, wow. Well, Manly P. Hall talks about in the secret destiny of or the secret teachings of all ages, that inside, there's a secret chamber inside of the Sphinx where someone who has gone through all the degrees of the secret societies and the Babylonian mystery schools goes in for their final test there, and they have to battle this all-seeing eye thing. So it very well could be that this all-seeing eye thing is more than just a symbol, but actually represents some entity that we are as of yet unfamiliar with. Totally crazy, totally insane. In the courtyard in its own enclosure, Enlil's fast-stepping skybird was kept. Yeah, it's Klingon bird of prey. As for the time for the arrival of Anu and Antu neared. For their stay in the Eden, a new place was selected at neither Enlil's nor Enki's. Unki, the delightful place it was named, shade trees were planted in it. A pure white structure, the house of Anu, in its midst was built. Its exterior rose in 7 stages. Its interior was like a servant's quarters. When the celestial chariot of Anu arrived at Earth, Anunnaki sky ships soared toward it. For a safe landing at the place of the chariots in Tillman, it was guided. Utu, the place's commander, welcomed his great-grandparents to planet Earth. The 3 children of Anu, Enlil, Enki, and Anarshug stood there to greet them. They embraced and kissed, they laughed and cried, so long has the separation been. They to each other kept saying, and then looked at each other and examined their aging. Though greater in Shars were the parents, younger than the children they looked. That was one of the things about creating us and creating a species on this planet is, harsh, short, fast cycles around the sun means we don't live for very long. Maybe that means we should get off of this planet and go somewhere else where, I don't know, kooky, crazy idea, huh? They're probably going to go and not let us go with them. Good, let them go. Fuck them. The 2 sons looked old and bearded, and Arshug, once a beauty, was bent and wrinkled. All 5 of them were filled with tears. Tears of joy and sorrowed tears were mingled. In sky ships, the guests and their hosts were taken to the Eden. In a prepared place beside Unki, the sky ships landed. All the Anunnaki that on Earth had stayed as an honor guard were standing. Hail and welcome, hail and welcome. In unison to Anu and Antu, they were shouting. Then, in a procession, singing and playing music, the Anunnaki and the house of Anu accompanied their guests. In the house of Anu, Anu was washed and rested. He was then perfumed and clothed. Antu was escorted by a female Anunnaki to the house of the golden bed. There, too, she was washed and rested and was perfumed and clothed. In the open courtyard, as an evening breeze, the tree leaves rustled. Anu and Antu on thrones were seated. Flanking them were Enlil and Enki and Anarshuk. Attendants, earthlings who were completely naked, served wine and good oil. Others in a corner of the courtyard, they just got humans, random fucking humans running around naked. In case Enki wants to get his dick wet and pour some semen into a womb or something, it's easy action, right? Oh yeah, just let the humans run around naked. You never know if you're going to have to get your dick wet. There you go. Jesus Christ, these motherfuckers are out of control. They are fucking Klingons. Dirty motherfuckers. We've been seated by Klingons. I hate to have to admit that. We've been seated by fucking Klingons. Been the dirtiest motherfuckers in the goddamn galaxy. I guess it could have been worse. Could have been sand people, right? Or fucking Jawas. Houdini! A great banquet for all for Anu, and Antu was prepared for the signs of the heavens. Its start was awaiting. On Enlil's instructions, Zamul, who in matters of the stars and planets was learned, the steps of the house of Anu ascended. The rising of the planets to eve time was announced. On the first step, Kishar in the eastern skies appeared. Lamu, or the second step, was seen. That's Mars. Mumu on the third step was announced. Anshar by the fourth step rose. Lamu on the fifth step was seen. The moon from the sixth step was announced. Then, on a signal from Zamul, the hymn of the planet of Anu in the skies rises began to be sung. For from the topmost step, the seventh red haloed Nibiru came into view. Now, so see, there you go. There you go. Nibiru comes into view. Nibiru comes in plain sight. They see it. They can even see how it's haloed red, right? But are there any earthquakes and rumblings and end of the world going on down on Earth? No, none at all, right? But yet Nibiru's visible from the planet, but there's no catastrophes going on. Everything's great. They're coming down on, Anu and Antu, who he hasn't seen for a period of time, are able to come down because why? Because Nibiru has come into view and it's close to the planet Earth, right? There you go. Again, this is what I've been trying to tell people. There is zero evidence that Nibiru coming close to Earth is going to cause destruction and all of this stuff, but people are just running with it as if it's an absolute truth. To the music, the Anunnaki clapped and danced. To the music, they danced and sing. To the one who grows bright, the heavenly planet, the Lord of Anu, they sang. On the signal, a bonfire was lit, seen from place to place where the bonfire started. After the night was over, the whole land of Eden was lit with bonfires. Looks like they're having a fucking Burning Man throwdown here. After a meal of bull meat and ram meat, of fish and fowl with wine and beer, they come. Yeah, they're fucking throwing down, dude. Look at this shit. I mean, seriously. They just said that the red-tailed Nibiru came into view. They can see it from Earth. And these motherfuckers are having a buffet, and they're having wine and beer. They're getting fucking crunk as hell. Now, would they be getting crunk as hell drinking wine and beer if their planet, which supposedly causes destruction, and they call the destroyer on Earth when it comes near to Earth, do you think they'd be doing this? It's just complete, the whole fucking Nibiru destructor thing has been a complete lie, a complete red herring, and this is why I read this. This is why I chose to read this stuff. Not because I believe Zechariah Sitchin or I'm a fan of him or anything else, but because I knew if we actually read this stuff from ourselves and read this in the court of public opinion on a radio show, that we would come to a lot more truths than the thing we've been being told just to accept, oh, yeah, blah, 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 this, that, and the other, yeah, Nibiru's this. But, I'm glad that we got into this and are able to find this out for ourselves now. I feel so much better about myself and about the things that I say and the stuff that I put out on the show when we do stuff like this, Because I've known in my gut that that's been a red herring for the longest time. But, I mean, here, to me, this is just absolute proof. It's just hard for me to deny that at this point. For several Earth days and nights, Anu and Antu slept. On the sixth day, his two sons and daughter Anu summoned. Of what had transpired on Earth, he heard their accounts. Of the peace and the warfare he learned. Of how the Earthlings, by the oath of Enlil to be wiped off, had again proliferated, Anu had heard. Of the gold discovery in the land beyond the oceans and the chariots placed there, Enlil to him revealed. It was then that of the dream and of the tablet of Galzu, Enki told his father. By that, Anu was greatly puzzled. A secret emissary by that name to Earth by me was never sent. So did Anu say to the three leaders. Puzzled were Enki and Enlil, baffled, they looked at each other. On account of Galzu, Zisudra, and the seeds of life were saved, Enki said. On the account of Galzu, on earth we remained, Enlil said to his father. The day to Nibiru you return, you shall die. So did Galzu say to us. Incredulous of that was Anu. The change of cycles indeed did cause havoc, but it was cured with elixir. Then whose emissary, if not yours, was Galzu? And Enki and Enlil said in unison, aha! So who is this mystery man? So see, this is the guy that changed the whole course, remember? This Galzu character? Supposedly having orders from Anu? Who is he then? They don't know who he is. He never gave that order. They never said, who is this mystery man? He's the guy that wanted them to have compassion for mankind and not wipe them out and gave them the plans to, create the new ark and save them. Aha. Oh, see, now the plot thickens. Now the plot thickens. Now we're starting to see the appearance of other entities that aren't Anunnaki who have had a hand and a say in steering the destiny of mankind. Oh, this is real interesting now. You just thought it was interesting. Now somebody else is showing up in the mix, and you're going, we don't know who the fuck this guy was. I thought you were with him. Oh, man, I thought you were with him. I thought you sent him. Nope, I didn't. Who the fuck was this guy? Whose emissary, if not yours, was Galzu? Who the Earthlings, who wanted to save the Earthlings, who made us stay on Earth. Narsuk slowly nodded her head. From the creator of all did Galzu appear. See, there you go, the Son of God. Now this is the entering of the Jesus character, isn't it? Does seem like it. So that explains what we haven't. This is very interesting. See, that somebody else is showing up, and it's not Anunnaki, and this person, and we don't really have any real explanations for that, do we? Now the plot thickens as it always does. We got to find out who this mystery Galzu character is. By the time I get up tomorrow, I'll have 20 emails in my box going, Galzu is this person, Galzu is this, move on. which is fine. I'm cool with that, but still. Was the creation of Earthlings also destined? Of that, I must wonder. For a while, the four of them were silent. Each one's past events in his heart recounted. While fates we decreed, the hand of destiny every step directed. So Anu did say, the will of the creator of all is clear to see. On earth and for earthlings, only emissaries are we. The earth belongs to the earthlings. To preserve and advance them, we were intended. If that is our mission here, let us accordingly act, so Enki did say. The great Anunnaki who decree the fates councils exchanged regarding the lands. To create civilized regions, the great Anunnaki decided to therein provide mankind with knowledge. Here we go. I mean, is this what because what I'm thinking here is that because a lot of people think that the Anunnaki and the Nephilim are the same thing. The more and more I'm finding out is that the Nephilim were not necessarily the same as the Anunnaki, but yet people in the research community always try to put those together as they're the same thing, and I don't think they are. And this right here to the great Anunnaki decided to provide mankind with knowledge. This is when the first secret society was set up, the Brotherhood of the Serpent, the Brotherhood of the Snake. And after that, some entity which was involved in the first priesthood in Sumer and Acadia and then Babylon, and then after that Egypt. But somewhere in there, that's when somebody decided, oh, wait, we're better off keeping this information to ourselves and only letting the people have little bits, which is exactly what they did and how they basically took over power and started controlling us all when that was never the goal of mankind, of the Anunnaki with mankind. They could have enslaved us and done anything they wanted to with us, but in the end, it's starting to appear that, I mean, just more and more, this whole thing's based on a lie. So the people who actually are enslaving us are doing it on this divine right to rule based on the fact that they're claiming that they are, the kin to these royal Anunnaki bloodlines, when in reality, yeah, they're lying. Just because they're blood related to these people doesn't mean that that's what the Anunnaki intended for mankind to be. In fact, here we're reading that's not what they intended. So it very well could be this idea that these extraterrestrials, I think that may have been something, maybe that's propagated. Maybe that's a lie. Maybe mankind isn't actually taking orders from these extraterrestrials. Maybe that's been their scapegoat, their other red herring. Maybe they put that out there to make us believe that, when you get past the Bilderberg group and you get past the bankers and you get past the Jews and you get past the Jesuits and you get past the Knights of Malta and all this stuff and the Crown and the Vatican, that obviously the next idea is that, it's got to be forces outside of this earth that are controlling it. Well, but maybe it is that, but what if it's not the Anunnaki, as many people believe? What if these are demonic entities or other entities or something like that? Or what if the whole thing's a lie? It's very easy to blame it on some god or some alien or something like that than it is to have people believe that actually the source of our power power lies in the people that are actually here on earth, who are using this phony lie of the divine right to rule as their excuse to be in power. Cities of man were to be established. Therein, sacred precincts and abodes for the Anunnaki were to be created. Kingship, as on Nibiru, was established on earth. Crown and scepter to a chosen man were given. Well, there you go. See that, and then you read that, and then it makes it hard to say what I just said a minute ago, doesn't it? See, I don't know. I mean, fuck. It's a little bit of both, because, I mean, right there, they're saying they gave them the crown and scepter and put them in charge, and the crown and scepter is what the crown used to this day. Solomon had that in Solomon's temple, so, okay, maybe I take back everything I just said a minute ago. Maybe these fuckers are the ones that put the people in charge. Maybe they still are running things. I still think, though, that the people in the bloodlines who are in charge got off the plantation and bastardized this stuff into a control method for evil when it wasn't originally intended for that. I still do believe that. There's plenty of evidence that supports that. By the word of the Anunnaki, to enforce to the people of work and dexterity. In the sacred precincts, a priesthood was established. To establish the Anunnaki as lofty lords to serve and worship. There you go. They set up the priest class so that the Anunnaki would be served and worshiped. Well, now I take back everything I just said. There you go. Yeah, they set this whole thing up. Secret knowledge was to be taught to convey civilization to mankind. To create 4 regions, 3 for mankind and 1 restricted, the Anunnaki resolved. The first region to the olden Eden land to establish for Enlil and his sons to dominate. The second region, the land of the 2 Narrows, thereafter to follow for Enki and his sons to lord over. Oh, man, I just lost my place. Let me just a second get back where I left off at. Oh, where'd I go? The third region, with the other two not mingling in a distant land, was granted to Inanna. The fourth region, for the Anunnaki alone consecrated, was on the peninsula of the place of the chariots. So that's the 4 new regions they've built. So we're going to be leaving off. Now this is the account of Anu's journey to the lands beyond the ocean. 272 is where we're leaving off there. Now this is the account of Anu's journey to the lands beyond the ocean. 272. Very interesting. Boy, lots of stuff there now, because, there for a minute it kind of seemed like, okay, maybe these guys aren't the ones, and then, oh, no, they are indeed the ones that set up shop. We should have known. But again, I think that there does, just like anything, how's that old expression go? The road to hell is paved with good intentions. Could very, very well be the source of that statement. It's very true there. It does seem like there was some good intentions. But with us being so much, according to these Anunnaki, being so much like them, we have eventually chosen to take the route that they took, which ultimately led to widespread death and warfare on their planet. And allegedly, that's why this Lost Book of Enki was made. Because it says very explicitly at the beginning of it that this information is supposed to be known to all of mankind so that we don't go the same route that these Anunnaki went down, which is death and destruction and nuclear war and all this other stuff. This would make perfect sense among, many, many other reasons why this information has been downplayed, has been called disinfo, has been called distractions and everything else, because in it does lie that warning of, look, we've got to change our ways on this planet, otherwise we're going to go the same route they did. So it's very interesting stuff. Again, this is our fundraising week. We're about $200 short away from our goal, folks. We'd love to have somebody come in and save us and help us out and get us with all our bills taken care of the month with, and that's not going to leave us much left over either. So please go to theglobalreality.com, make a donation there at the donate button. Please support us so we can get the bills paid for the month. And we'll be off and running for our 4-year anniversary on the first day of September tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, kicking off our whole month-long anniversary in September of the Global Reality, and I'm looking forward to it, and we're going to have some big shows coming up for you in September. So thanks, everybody out there, for continuing listening. My name is Josh Reeves. I love each and every one of you. We'll see you tomorrow for the broadcast. You guys have a great one. Take care.